Okay.
We're back.
We are back for the 11th time.
It is.
It is the 11th time.
Or maybe the 12th. We might be splitting that intro episode up. We don't know.
I don't think so. Whatever. We'll see.
We will see.
We're back for the certain number of times.
The next time.
It's been. And we are going to talk about Willow weeping today, which starts the fourth chapter. The fourth. Sorry. Oh my God. The third and final chapter. What am I talking about?
Yeah, the third.
Wow. I should know my stuff better, shouldn't I don't know why I said that.
We all misspeak.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yes, we're here with Willow Weeping, the song that starts our third and final chapter of the album. We've made it. We've made it pretty far. Like, if you've made it this far, again, thank you. I know we've said that before, but, you know, as it feels today, as we're sitting in these chairs, kind of marathoning through this stuff, man, I just sure hope people listen to this.
Yeah, it's also just like, this means so much to us. You know, we spent a lot of time and effort on it, and it's an important piece of work to us. And
yeah,
it's nice to share that, I think, with people, and you can see where we've coming from. And maybe you're learning things, or maybe you're just interested in seeing, you know, what it takes.
Yeah. Either way, if you've made it this far, thank you. That's pretty dope. And I appreciate it. We appreciate it. So let's just jump right into the history corner.
Cassidy's history corner.
Thanks. I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
It's pretty short and sweet. This song is short and sweet as well. So no coincidence there. As we left the narrative at the end of chapter 1, Echoes, Candle, and Willing were all to do with this one romantic relationship that I was in.
Yes, we're back to that same person.
Yes, because then we had to go through our side quest, and then we had the pivotal song that kind of bridged the gap between our side quest, bringing us back to the narrative. And we had a pretty major achievement in Moonlight. We realized that we were not a victim. We realized that we had the power to change things. We utilized our first tool, and we took action. We took external action and made some progress. So now I think it's fitting to say that there's just been kind of like an undetermined amount of time that has gone by, but like time has passed. The character is kind of like older, wiser. We meet them in a far different place than where they were when we left off at the first chapter. So we bring you right back into this narrative with a breakup song. More external action.
Didn't you say that Willing was kind of stereotypically like a love song? Or am I thinking of...
Willing can be read as a love song because I wanted it to be. However, the underlying like current of that is, I know that we're going to break up. And that's where this whole, like, that's why we had that whole bombastic, chaotic, devolving, deconstructing ending where it's like Fantasyland didn't hold up. We can't stay there forever. And our reality is falling apart. Everything that we were standing upon in which we thought was like law wasn't correct, wasn't true, wasn't right. So we're just in this place of like, what's up, what's down? I don't even know. Then we went on the side quest. We had some learning. We did some good things. And it can be assumed that some of those good things are brought back to this narrative. That's what I'm saying. Like, time has passed. We meet our character in this new place. It's like when you're watching a show and you meet the little kid, and then all of a sudden you're with them years later and they've grown up. Like, this is that kind of thing where we meet our character in a crazy new place. It's a breakup song. So, you know, similar to Moonlight, it's a cute little story. It's a story of this girl, and she goes to this willow tree, this weeping willow tree, and it kind of tells the story of how we got to the place of knowing and being prepared for the breakup, right? So like, girl goes to the tree's like so sad and like losing its leaves, and it's just like the girl's like, okay, I'm gonna try to help you. I'm going to try to do all these things. And I wish I had the power to change you and all of these things. And, you know, when you're dealing with a person who has depression, like oftentimes, and especially as a codependent person, you want to fix them. Like, you want to be the thing that makes them better. And you put yourself aside and don't even realize how that's affecting you. So this song is a breakup song where, you know, the relationship that I was in was not good for a lot of reasons, but one of them was just like, he wasn't in a place to be in a relationship. Clearly neither was I. I mean, if I've made anything else clear by kind of talking about this, of course I wasn't, you know? So the emotion that I wanted to convey through this is just like, like a devastating breakup song. Like, it's just a through and through breakup song.
Yeah.
You know? And it's coming to terms with and accepting that the relationship is ending. And I think the accepting bit is a really big deal. Because you know that that's going to happen. I mean, to a certain extent, I knew the relationship was over long before it actually was. But, you know, and this song kind of makes it sound like I broke up with him. Like, I was the one who was like, this is not good, I'm going to go. He broke up with me, truth be told. And so I didn't even really make I didn't take full action.
Sometimes you manifest that, though, you know?
Yeah, sure.
When you're in a relationship, I feel like I've been in past relationships where I stopped trying. But I'm not going to make the move, but I put forth energy that like forces the other person to make the move.
Not me.
No?
I knew it was bad and I was like still wanting it to go on. You know what I mean? I don't think I would have at that time period. Like, it would have just had to be like, it already was crumbling and bad and not good. Like, I don't know what else it would have taken. I just was, you know, in that bad place.
Codependency. I mean, you're attached to the comfort.
Absolutely.
The vines.
So, yeah, I mean, the narrative purpose of the song is just to convey to our listeners that, like, the breakup has occurred. Yeah. We're back in this, like, romantic relationship narrative, and this is what's going on. So, I kind of already spoke about the lyrics. It's just a story where we're personifying the other person in this relationship as this, like, weeping willow tree. And, you know, we really want to be the person that can fix them. And then ultimately you just have to walk away. Musically, this one, all of these preludes kind of have a relationship in a weird way to me. Like, we noted that Salt felt hymn-like for certain reasons. This one is even more of a hymn. Like,
Morning Light also.
And Morning Light.
The keys have that boo, blue, blue.
Yeah. Blue. Yeah. And Morning Light's in A flat, and this is in G flat, and Salt is in D flat. And I would say, like, those flat keys are like stereotypically, like, really common for hymns.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. We have something else to say about this being in G flat later on. But
we do? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote this song, and we can maybe play a little bit of the demo. I didn't even make it. I mean, it really was just a voice memo. It was just like 4-part blocky moving piano harmony, and then I knew that I wanted to change it into string quartet. And this is another one that I worked on with you in our early lessons.
Yes,
that we recorded.
This is the
in
one
that
kind
first
of brought me into the project.
Ooh, yeah, and we can talk about that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It was just, how do you take a piano arrangement and turn it into string quartet? It was pretty easy, considering I wrote it in like 4-part harmony with the voice leading. There's some other stuff to consider, but like, it was a great like first project to kind of like jump into. Yeah. Which was awesome.
To get for our lessons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I just wanted the string quartet to support the story and further evoke and elicit like an emotional response. Like, I want people to listen to this and just be like, ow. Which is crazy, because that's like the same way that chapter 2 starts, just in a very, very, very different way. So the duality for this piece is holding on versus letting go. Yeah, and the pointillism for this one comes to mind. It's a hand holding a rose, and the rose is very obviously like dead. Yeah. You know, so it kind of is that, like, why am I holding on to, like, it's not the same way you pick a rose and you're like, oh my gosh, this thing is so beautiful and I love it, it smells good. It's like, why are you bringing this around? It's not, it's had its day. It's time to let go, but sometimes you just don't want to. Yeah, and like when a rose bush dies and it's just the stems left over, and the thorns are even somehow sharper somehow.
than when it was alive.
Yeah. So that brings us to our onboarding.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the key.
The key.
Like I said, it's in G flat, which this is awesome. When people are like, oh, like a half step key center change doesn't matter. Lie. When they're like, oh, like 1 BPM or 2 BPM change doesn't matter.
Big time lie.
Lie. Mm-hmm. Lie. I wrote this song on the piano in G flat. And then when I brought it to you, one of the first things that you said, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do for string quartet. And you're like, well, the lowest note on a violin is G.
On a 4-string violin, yeah.
And already, like what I had written, or like the harmony on the piano, like the second violin would have to play.
Yeah, the part that you had already written below that.
And then you're like, you can just move it. And I was like, all right, let's try to move the MIDI. Terrible. Sounded awful. It was like, ew, I hate this song. Needs to be G flat for whatever reason. And so we went to the lengths of we wrote it for 2 violas, 1 violin and cello, instead of 2 violins, 1 viola.
Second part.
Which I think adds to like the somberness and this darkness. And there's just no accident that even on the piano, like the key of G flat feels that way for me versus G, even though there's nothing restrictive about the piano being able to play those notes.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
I feel that way about D flat and D major.
Oh my God, yeah.
D flat is like just at that point where any further down really, and chords start to not really resonate quite the same. Right? C major, but it just, I don't know.
B and B flat.
You can just really, it's
B
really
is
close
bright,
to being
B
that.
flat's dark.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Then I think, I'm like, am I lying to myself? Because we're taught the flat keys are black keys and like the other keys are white keys. It's like, is it because of the way?
Maybe there is bias. Who knows?
Gosh, I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. It's like when I think of the letter F, it's like red. And then people are like, well, yeah, because like the Fisher piano, like baby toy has each key is a different color. So you never know what you're like being influenced by.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. I don't know. But we committed and it was totally the right decision. And gosh, do you want to talk a little bit about how this session ended up going? Like,
like this was my first physical interaction with any of this content, any of this material.
Other than lessons.
I'm talking about the lessons.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like that's where it started, right? Like we were talking about the song and it didn't have any rubato, didn't have any fermatas, didn't have anything, right? And suddenly we were getting this thing where it's like it needs breath. You were singing along to it, and it was just like it's feeling like it's rushing along. You're not respecting sort of the phrasal kind of breaths that could occur, right? And the strings aren't being aware of the breaths that that are going to occur for your vocal. So we added in a bunch of fermatas at the end and all this other stuff, and then eventually got to the point where I was like, well, I got to record this. Like, how we can do that? Like, string players can manage that super easily, right? But we had just worked on it for for a bit. So you were like, well, do you want to, come and conduct it? And
well, it was even like, I remember this, I think this is relevant, like in our lesson discussion, talk about the approach of how many different ways can you convey the same thing on sheet music?
Yes.
Right? Because we were going back and forth. We were like, should there just be fermatas at the end of each measure? Which for those of you who don't know, the fermata just means hold out a note, and there's not really a rule for how long. It's kind of up to
the conductor
whatever
or the
conductor or the personal discretion.
Right.
Versus, do we want to dictate how long these sustained beats want to be held? And then do we write the song in mixed meter to account for how long we want them to be held? And then we ended up going the fermata route, which in a recording setting elicits a lot more uncertainty for everybody around. So then there's this need for a conductor. Whereas, if something's written at a certain tempo and there's the correct amount of beats, you could probably get by.
Yeah, and again, a violin one could lead an ensemble. Like an ensemble member can lead everyone through it, but it's different when you're singing with it, and also we know the intention. Like they could probably make good music with it, but we needed specific pacing, specific kind of approach. So that's why I came in there today. It was during COVID. It was like only a few months into COVID. So I remember the protocols and opening doors between takes and like masking and just all that. It was really interesting, very stressful.
I think it was July.
I think it was May. I remember it as
wow.
Maggie,
yeah. You know what? You're right, because I think that like if it were later on, we just wouldn't have had the session at all, because there was still so much like we don't know. Yeah. Like masking wasn't even required. So the fact that we were like wearing masks and following all these protocols, like we thought that we were doing like everything absolutely possible.
Yeah, which ended up being okay.
It did, which is great.
Well, Maggie was on that session. We talked about Maggie earlier.
And Laura.
And Laura was on it. Willow was, I think, Hannah.
Oh, yeah, because, well, was Laura not?
Maybe not that time or not that day.
Because she was doing violin, too.
That's why.
Yeah, and we had different
violins.
Yep, or
violas. 2 violas, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so, I think that was really, we talked a little bit about COVID and everything earlier in the intro episode, just like all that Zoom work and everything. Man, what a time that was.
It's amazing that we were able to get everything done that we did.
I know.
Thank God for, never thank goodness for a pandemic, but goodness gracious, like
for our
the
adjustment.
fact that we were still able to be productive through that time.
Yeah, for our adjustment.
Whew.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, so like for our large dimension overview, like we said, each chapter kind of starts off with more of like a prelude, a shorter song that serves as a set with its following piece. So like Willow Weeping and If I Knew are definitely going to go together. This one kind of sets everything that we discuss in If I Knew up. Yeah,
and If I Knew starts on that sort of slow, or like more calm, like kind of emotion.
Yeah.
That this really does relate to.
Yeah. And similar to all the other preludes, the 2 preludes that we've had so far were a lot more tame in regards to like amount of instrumentation. But this is starkly different.
For a while, it was just string quartet and voice for a long time.
Right.
And then I just felt like it was detached from the record when we were doing full listens through of like
oh yeah,
like mixes that were final mixes, but like mix ones. We were listening to everything, and it's just like Willow was like beautiful and potent, but
out of place.
But it felt just a teeny bit out of place. So we knew it needed something to kind of lift it. Right?
Yeah. So we added some extra orchestration, which we'll get to, which is awesome. Yep. However, it's not just the fact that we have like sparse instrumentation. The arrival of chapter 3 means that where we're placed on this spectrum of synthetic to natural, chapter 3 is the most natural leaning, because we are getting closer to the truth.
Yes.
In its like pure form.
Absolutely.
And so this like truth we wanted to represent sonically with organic sounds.
That's a really important aspect of Moonlight too, is that there's a lot of organicism in Moonlight.
Yeah.
But that the vines are very synthetic. The horn line is doubled by a synth.
Right.
During the song. The cello line at the end is doubled by a vocal that kind of is affected and has reverb on it. So it is organic, but it feels a little bit otherworldly, right?
Totally.
There's a lot of blending. Every vine in the piano has a vine in the synth.
Yeah.
Here, I don't think there's one synthetic element. Technically, I'm using,
like virtual instruments.
Virtual sound, virtual instruments, but they're high quality virtual instruments that are emulating organic instruments completely.
Right.
Not a single sound. It's concert bass, timpani, crash cymbal, double bass, horns, trombone, English horn, and string quartet.
And voice.
That's it. That's everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it should kind of hit you as like, whoa, this is different.
Yeah.
And that's very intentional.
That's why that formal markers of the chapters, I think, are really helpful.
Totally. Yeah. Do you want to talk about rondo form?
Rondo form. A, B, A, C, A, D, A, E, A.
We've talked about it before.
Talked about it a little bit, right? But this one is proper, in a way that's kind of, it's less formally rondo, because these B sections and C section, they're not as long. They're almost just kind of like quick little statements. But it is like one texture and environment, and then a departure, and then back to the same place, and then an even different thing, and then back. And that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole song.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just a little simple bonus word, rondo form.
Another notable thing about recording, because we didn't really have onboarding for this one. I mean, we had onboarding after the fact. We just kind of went for it because we had that session, and then we were stuck with the material that we had.
Yes.
And then we had to say, okay, so then what do we do with it? Something that was notable is like I tried to get final vocals that same day as you guys were performing.
You wanted the phrasing to follow the conducting with the string players. And it's all very homorhythmic. So it's like, you know, you needed to kind of be there.
Yeah.
You know.
However, we realized that
you just didn't like your performance.
I didn't like my performance. There was also more to be discovered with the strings because I wanted to make comps and stuff. This is actually the first thing that I like dove into.
You comped this yourself.
Yeah, of course with your help. Like in the
end, I
showed
you how to do it, but you
and you edited it and made it like clean and everything. Yeah. But I just
you know that big spreadsheet and everything. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Maybe I can put a link to that. That was crazy. But yeah, I knew that we got great string takes, but it felt like settling to have to settle on a whole large chunk that we recorded just because my final vocal was on top. And if we like started making comps, then timing would just be a little bit different, whatever. But I was not attached to my vocals at all. So that kind of sent us into, well, then let's go ahead and make the string quartet part as good as it can be, and then just retrack vocals to match what we ended with, which is a total right decision.
And also, it was a very interesting trick that we did to track them. You remember what we did? We had to use your breaths from your original take to cue
when I should come in.
You should come in. So you'd have to hold your breath before the cue, and then listen to your breath to prep the line.
Yeah, because I was in a closet, so it's not like I had vision of your monitor, because that's what my initial thought would have been. Like, is there some way to mirror what you're looking at so that I can just see the waveforms? But still, I think there's something to be said for like, oftentimes visual cues for music, not great, not as good as using your ears. So having these auditory,
our ears are much stronger organs than it's a much stronger sense than our eyes, right?
Yeah. So if we have these breaths and I can just kind of be listening to that, it was still tough. I'm not gonna lie.
We and I had to do some rhythmic editing, and we got there though. You know, but the phrasing, you know, because this song is what's called tempo mapped, basically, where the metronome changes because the string recording is free. I conducted the string quartet. And we didn't record to a metronome because it wasn't tempo mapped ahead of time. Yeah. Meaning that there was a relationship to changing time that we couldn't really reference, right? We couldn't predict. It's, you know, it would take a lot of time to predict every give and take of every beat, and just didn't make sense. So we had to go off of the musical kind of cue of the breath, which was good. It's like chamber music.
Yeah.
Just blindly.
Yeah.
No visual representation of other musicians.
Yeah. Well, like chamber music, except for chamber music is always performed together.
Right, exactly.
We're doing it in a weird order. So, shall we jump in?
Yeah, let's jump into the formal pathway.
Cool. This is the only song that doesn't have an introduction.
The only one. Just hit it.
Yeah. You just jump right in.
Grabs our attention.
Right. Which is cool. Because like I mentioned before...
Salt, you could argue, doesn't really either. It kind of does with the sound, but it's like the vocal starts. And again...
True.
You know, the only reason Morning Light does is because it's the introduction to the record.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But there's something stark about that.
Very stark.
Like how I mentioned that like film cut. Or, you know, like we left our character and then all of a sudden the character's grown up. It's been a couple years. You're just automatically there. I think hearing the voice attached to the strings rather than like some sort of string introduction makes that like jump edit
absolutely
in your mind, and it's so vastly different from Moonlight that it's like, okay, this is different. And like we said earlier, we intentionally built in some extra time between chapters, so it's like you were gently set down by this like nice gradual decay in Moonlight, had some time, but then it's like boom, you're here, which is like pretty sick.
Right.
Yeah. So album-wide salience, it's not really like any other song.
Yeah.
Besides Salt, but still in a different way.
The instrumentation, even the aesthetic and the sound is slightly different, right? Because it's these strings that were recorded at the Toy Box.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Liz Shaw engineered them. So there's only a few songs that have the strings from there, and Light On, which was in our side quest, has one, but that kind of is a different aesthetic. And then it's this song. And then Bird in a Cage. So 2 out of the 3 that were recorded there are in this third chapter, which helps give the strings in this part of this, the record its own. It gives this part of the record a little bit more cohesiveness.
Same with sonically. The piano, the acoustic piano.
Yep.
In Bird in a Cage and Clarity.
Yep.
Was recorded at Grant Pittman's house.
Yeah, it helps everything kind of stick together a little bit sonically.
Couldn't plan for that shit, but here we are. Yeah, so I think it's pretty attention grabbing, and it's just like, boom, here we are. Welcome to chapter 3. And another thing is that the first opening lyrics to this song, it's the titular reference. Mm-hmm. It is the title. So there's something to that too. What I like about it is that it's the narrator addressing the other character in this song. It's like you're writing a letter to this person.
Willow, dear this person.
I'm telling you these things. I think of you every day. Your branch is heavy. Oh, how I want to bear some weight. Like, I'm declaring all these things.
Yeah.
That's like what I'm saying. This little girl goes to the tree. I almost tried to animate this song.
Yeah, I got like it for a minute.
Oh my gosh. Animators are crazy. Like I actually spent so much time, and I made like 30 seconds of like the worst thing of all time.
Oh my God. It's just like Parks and Rec.
It's
for
so
those of
cute.
You who know with Ben, have you watched Parks and Rec?
No.
Such a problem. But there's a part where Ben is like a character in Parks and Rec. Those of you who know Parks and Rec, you know, and I'm just going to comment on this because it's exactly the same. He is unemployed and tries to do claymation, and this guy Chris Traeger, who's like his friend and confidant and whatever, and he's like an important character, comes over to check on him essentially, and Ben gets all excited. He's like disheveled, and he's normally like very buttoned up and like clean, and he's like all disheveled and nerdy, and he goes to sit down and show Chris this claymation, and he's like so excited. Oh my God, I've been working on this for so long, and he plays it, and it's just like the beginning of a song. It's like yeah, and then it's black.
Yeah,
and he's like,
and that's it.
He's like, wait, no, there's more than that, I think. And they play it again, and it does it again, and then he like starts to have a breakdown because he's like, oh my God, I've been working on this for weeks and weeks straight with like, and
that's what I did.
Yeah, it's like I can't imagine. It just always looks like so much time. And people make stop motion movies,
dude.
It's like, have you been working on it for 20 years? Like,
yes.
How?
Blows my mind. Absolutely insane. Do you know what that makes me think of though? Is like I heard the other day, like Americans in 2023 consumed like 200 million hours of television programming.
Wow. So
if you have a team of people, like the amount of people that you have, if you have like one team of people set to a scene and they work on it for 3 years, but then you have 20 teams of 3 people, how many hours can you actually amalgamate?
Yes.
That if you're just one team, it probably would take 20 years. But
that's true.
Concept of like collectively 200
people,
200,000 million or something, like something is crazy. I don't know.
1,000 million.
1 million billion. Funny enough, do you want to know a fun fact? That's how many ants are on the earth. 1 million billion. If you type it in Google and you're like, how many ants are on the earth? It says 1 million billion.
Mm-hmm. is a number.
That's what Google says. It's funny to me. Anyway, let's bring it back.
Yeah.
Talk about this was such a big like ADHD obsession hobby, you know.
Hyperfixation,
dude.
The animation,
dude. Are you kidding? And the thing about my ADHD hyperfixation hobbies are that they're expensive.
Really?
This I like for Christmas. My dad was like, "What do you want?" I was like, "I want like a drawing pad." Like
that makes sense for you though.
Hundreds of dollars or something, but it was specifically for this one purpose.
Right, but now you can use it for other things.
Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. Yeah. Anyway, we're addressing this willow tree, and you know, I'll show the willow picture that I have that I found on the internet. But it's just, I mean, willow trees are already droopy. It's like you get, and it's
wispy. They're just like,
yeah. And I'm imagining it's like going into winter. And so like, not only is it droopy, but it's like the leaves are like blowing off like every time the wind blows. It's just sad. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think you asked me one time, you're like, are you sure you want to name it Willow Weeping? Because it's like so on the nose. Mm-hmm. She's like, well, yeah. And then it kind of made me spiral after you asked me that question. I'm not going to lie.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because I'm like, I name my songs the obvious shit only.
That's okay, though.
I never write a song and then don't use a lyric in the song. And
I mean, that's common, though.
I know, but I always think about it now.
Yeah, that's good. You should.
I know.
That's all I ever want. That's all I ever want is for someone to think about something more because of me.
I know.
Literally all I would ever want.
Yeah. So, well. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nailed it.
Yeah, and we, the string quartet, we keep the hymn-like nature for sure.
Oh, it's very homophonic. Just boom, 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 boom. Chord.
Yeah. And the whole first verse, though, we don't have violin, which even makes it darker and warmer.
And so that triadic harmony feels different, too.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's just like diatonic chords going up, and I'm pretty sure like second inversion, triads.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
All the same scale, diatonic.
Yep. And then we get to the first chorus. Violin enters. Can we hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Engage headphones.
The last phrase into that, and we'll just do strings only.
Doubling the melody an octave higher. Saddest little line that there ever was.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it opens up immediately because of what the lyrics are saying. It's like first I go from like writing this letter to Willow, to our sweet little willow tree, and then this is almost again. It's like we have these hymn songs, and all these hymn songs are kind of like prayers. Like, I mean, there's no denying I grew up going to Catholic school. Like I play church every Sunday.
A lot of that, yeah.
I know it's interesting, but
it's like a sound that comes up in your ecology a lot. Yeah.
The sentiment of a prayer is also just a beautiful thing. Like it's supposed to be so nice and good. But I do think of this part as a departure, where I say, "Grant me some force so mighty that I could be His sweet relief." Right in the duality of this holding on versus letting go. We're indulging in the holding on part right here. This is one final plea to the universe, the powers that be. Like, please, like, I don't want this. Even if it has to be me that makes him better. Like, I just want to make this okay. Right? And so having that violin, which sounds like a cry, doubling the melody,
right,
an octave higher than where I'm singing to support that is like crucial, and then to let me be His sweet relief. It's like almost at this point I know that it's not going to happen, and that's why we get back to this somber state so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's very it's like huge upward gesture, and then there's like we're already back down again. This is why the conducting is so helpful,
right?
Because it's like bring them there and then bring them back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the tempo slows down and everything. So yeah, it's like this moment of acceptance before we really have to accept it.
Absolutely. That nice little viola one responsive line right after you say sweet relief, right? It's like that is it. That is a musical exemplification of that feeling.
I know. And it's almost like we're both about to have relief, maybe just not in the way that I wanted.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's the sad little viola line right there too. So then we get in the second half. It reminds us of verse 1, of course. It's pretty much exactly the same. Oh gosh, and we have to talk about it.
The missed opportunity. Yeah, I always talk about these missed opportunities.
I'm still sad about it. If there's maybe one thing that I'm sad about on the record, it's this.
Sometimes there are some things to be sad about,
It's okay.
With all the details that we focused on, it is interesting how specific this is.
Yeah.
Some people will be like, I don't care. It sounds good.
Can you share your side of this?
You talking about during the string session?
Yeah. Because we've talked so much about knowing your place in certain scenarios, right?
So I show up to conduct the string session. That's what I am. That's my role, is to get the performance out of the string players that makes sense. But at the time, I was not the project manager. I was not the leader. I was not in charge. I was not a producer. I was not in charge, right? So when it comes to the big picture decisions, that's not my place to make them, right? I can recommend what I think makes sense based on my expertise in regards to the strings, so on and so forth. But it doesn't always, you have to pick your battles, and you also have to just keep positivity and be
not
cordial.
Not
overstep. And I'll remind you the whole time, this is like a stressful COVID session.
Oh God,
beginning of COVID. So like there's even that element. We're not even sure how to navigate that. Right. That's just an underlying of tension. Like I thank God to the most incredible wife I have in the world. The night before, like she helped me stay up to use a sewing machine. I think it was the night before. I don't think I ever told you this.
No, this is new.
You know the black masks that I wear all the time? My mask.
She made those.
We made them together because I researched. I knew because I have a beard that the 995s they say like they don't work as well, right? And they're not very tight. So I had researched this mask online that was like these super scientific people had done all these really interesting particle tests on this methodology of using this specific kind of paper towel that that like auto shops use to wipe up oil. It has like a very thin, like very finite particle structure that can actually, do a pretty good job of being a filter for air. Now it's not like an N95, but it actually does a pretty good job, like scientifically. So we got this fabric, and I got this like elastic trimming fabric, and like I bought these rolls of these like auto paper towels, and there was a design where you had to print out these paper things and cut fabric out and do all this stuff. Chloe worked in a costume shop, and when she studied for her dance major, so she was familiar with the sewing machine and fabric and things, and she helped me make 2 of these masks the night before because I was so stressed about just like the things that we didn't know about COVID. And I was like, this is my first time being around people since the announcement of COVID, since COVID came in March.
2 months ago.
2 months before. And so much was at that few months in, COVID was like really, it was kind of scary, right? Yeah. So yeah, she stayed up late with me and like guided me through making these 2 masks so I could be comfortable the next day. So I was actually pretty uncomfortable. Yeah. Like I was like, this new mask, and it's like I'm talking loud because like the mask is very muffled, and I'm trying to communicate, and I'm like, communication as a conductor is so important, and facial expression, I'm like, facial expression is a huge part of conducting, right? And I don't have any of that. I just have eyes, right? And I'm trying to it's just a lot of these things happening, right? And
so it's like, what things are you going to care about? Definitely not overstepping for some like creative decision that you hear that maybe not everybody else in the room, especially the actual producer, isn't really jumping on board with.
Sure, exactly. And there's some things at the end with timing and things. But yeah, so this was just something I didn't think of. It's something we didn't think of because we didn't have that kind of full capacity to be artistically open to the fullest extent. And you have this this lyric. What is the actual full line? Nowadays pass slowly. Right? Yeah. It's like, it pulls maybe a teeny bit, but like, what a nice little simple, just like hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. We could have really leaned into it.
Text painting. Just the nowadays pass slowly. Like, it could be this really interesting moment. Now, yeah, it's really like, it could be just like saccharine and like over the top, like, of course you're slowing the tempo down when they said slowly.
But I hate that we don't have the option.
But that, and also like, this is a very potent, homogenized, like singular hymnal kind of thing, where making that decision, it's almost like it's the more obvious decision that we should be making. The cliche is what we're trying to kind of do in this song again.
Yeah. You did advocate for it. Like, let's say that, like, you were like, we should do this.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
I didn't think I even thought of it.
No, you did. But I kept, this is what happened.
I thought it was the end that I was advocating, holding for a long.
You did 2 things. You did 2 things.
Interesting.
It was this, and because the reason that it's there at all, which you can hear a little bit, I was super in my head singing, recording my vocals.
Sure.
And so it was one of those things where, I was uncomfortable. Like, we had only so much time because we had to get other songs done. And like, again, just COVID, it was a stressful situation. And I'm thinking of these as my final vocals, which goes back on what we were talking about yesterday. In this, like,
put lots of stress there.
You're not really, when you think that you're tracking final vocals, you don't really want to take risks, and you don't really want to improvise, and you don't really want to feel silly or do new things. And so what kept on happening is, even though I intended to lean more into it, and that was kind of like our decision, I kept on kind of rushing it. And then it was just like, well, this seems to be what we want to do. Whereas now I know you, if we intended to do that, there would have been so much more conversation. We wouldn't have just kind of breezed past it because, because producer that was there didn't seem to really care about it. And I was frazzled.
You were frazzled. I was talking to you after about that.
I was so frazzled.
Yeah.
And so it just ended up being this thing that like, there wasn't much importance on it. So that's what I meant when I said earlier of like, it would have been nice to just have the option of like, okay, we did it this comfortable way. But if you advocated a little bit more, maybe we would have just been like, okay, well, like, why don't we just have it with this different phrasing and maybe we could re-record vocals later, or like, let's really lean into it and we can decide on the back half, like which ones we want to take. That's totally what would have happened now.
Yeah.
But it just didn't happen in the moment.
Just didn't. That's interesting. I didn't even remember advocating for that one. So it's interesting.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of our only missed opportunities. Another one of our missed opportunity comes in the end. But
end of this, yeah. Small thing. I mean,
again,
it works. I kind of like the way it turned out, but
yeah, it's not bad, but it's just we know it's there.
And again, at the top of the second phrase, there's no violin, but it comes in quicker now. It doesn't wait until the sort of B section.
Right.
So we can kind of revisit that texture from the beginning.
Yeah, and this is when our other instrumentation comes to play too.
Yeah, and actually, there's some stuff in the first chorus that I want to, the first B section that I want to highlight. But yeah, very blatantly, there's this little bass drum hit.
After we have the word solitude to kind of like...
Solitude, bam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's inspired by my buddy Eric Brown, who's a great sound designer, composer, audio engineer, film guy. Like, we scored a film together in undergrad, and he just loved this like subtle felt bass drum kind of thing, this like approach, and that was very much inspired by that.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Yeah. Did you want to go back to anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think, but outside of the string quartet, right? There's this other instrumentation that we basically added to bring in the rest of the record, right? Like, as we said, the string quartet by itself, after we listened to these mixed ones, it sounded amazing, but it just felt like too far away.
Something was missing.
So we added this compositional depth with orchestration, very subtle, small kind of interjections to give it just a little bit more of that like compositional awareness.
Right.
And maybe we come back in a minute after we kind of finish, because the form of this is very small.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting to kind of go through the rest of it and come back and maybe listen to a few things like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
So for the bridge, right, for this C section, it's so proud, right? Mm-hmm. What's the lyric here again?
But I'll let you go and hope your dormant branches wake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, talk about like the simplicity of this song. Right off the bat, we get the titular reference. Mm-hmm. We have the duality clearly stated here. This is very, which side of the duality wins in this one? Obviously, there's no question that we're letting go, right? And it's because there's nothing else to do. We had our final plea, our final request of like, is there anything that I could do to like make this work? And then you just can't. And so I think that that's where we have this like overwhelming wash of the instrumentation, and then this like small instrumental section, which is supposed to just be like an expression of that emotion of this thing that we've kind of been waiting the whole record for, of like coming to this point where we let go of the relationship and move past it. Yeah,
the violin is kind of representing that too.
Yeah,
like it's kind of representing that confidence, which is like the violin's taking a back seat in this.
Yeah,
like the first B section, it comes out for a very split second. It says right, it's just like right there, and then it becomes passive again in the verse, and then this C section comes by, and it's just like really prominent.
Let's hear it.
Right? Passive. But here it comes. It's doubling the melody there, so it's even harder to hear. And then right? Very triumphant up top. And then actually the viola too is also triumphant, right? So we hear these two things together. If I can try to have these two mics without the room, it would be a little strange, but this is violin 1 and viola. Violin 1 on the left, viola a little bit closer to the center. Right? Yeah. So viola is actually like really strong there too. Violin is up top. Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, I'm having thoughts as we're kind of going through this now. But yeah, so I'll let you go. We state that and hope your dormant branches wake. Like, I hope the best for you. This is just not what's supposed to be happening right now. Then we have this instrumental section. It's very like, I like that you use the word triumphant, because at first when you used it, I didn't like it. I was like, there's nothing triumphant about what I just did. And then I thought about it for a second, and it's, you know, I see this a lot where like
breaking up with somebody takes confidence in.
Well, the thing is that I got dumped, but this, I think what this is supposed to represent is like, I realize that this is a good thing too. You know what I mean? It was very mutual. However, yeah, it takes confidence, and it takes this like boldness. I'm thinking of another friend that I have where like recently she dumped a guy, and then you almost have this high at first of like, yeah, like I'm so badass that I did this thing and like I'm so good.
Yeah.
And then this wash that we experience after this space, the
last phrase,
is kind of representative of like when you go do something so badass like that, and then you walk to your car and you have some moment of silence, and then as soon as you get to your car, you're just like break down. Yeah. This is what this wash is, of just like the realization of what you just did and what just happened.
You say wash, the
can we hear it? The thing that comes up next, this.
After this sort of arrival, just like the departure of this thing? Oh, just the last phrase.
Yeah, because this sounds like a desperate cry, where we have this like triumphant, crescendo. Like good, okay, this thing that just happened. And then this is like, all right, we walk outside and then get in your car and you're like, fuck, what just happened?
Shit. Yeah, and I call it like a throne crescendo kind of, right?
Yeah. Oh no. Willow, and even that breath that comes in sounds a little shaky, like you're gonna cry, which is good.
It's actually because of an editing issue that I had a hard time with, that I left on purpose because I like the way it sounds.
Great.
I could have gone further to try to fix it.
No, it's perfect.
But it's technically 2 breaths overlapping.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I liked the way it sounded because it feels like it feels like a little bit like, you know, emotional.
Yeah,
absolutely. Talk about happy accidents.
Yeah, and so then, you know, we've kind of gone through the thick of it, and then we arrive back at a verse, this A section of our rondo.
The aftermath.
Yeah, and we're back to a very simple string part that we experienced in the beginning, because there's no violin. Is there violin?
I think not.
Yeah, I don't think so. No. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. I can't.
And very simple, like.
I'm the score in front of me.
You would, if you're doing like a voice leading exercise in college, like this is what you would write. It's very straightforward. It's very
textbook.
There's nothing fancy about it. I'm just following the rules and giving you the harmony. And what this allows for is the lyrics to shine through and be very potent, which the lyrics are restating the first lyrics that we heard of this song, which is Willow weeping, I think of you every day. Your branch is heavy, I hope your door, you know. So it's kind of like we have gone through the whole thing, and really what it's just trying to do is express, like, I still care about you. I have already expressed that I want the best for you. It happened, like we're informed by this event. However, like, damn, it just kind of sucks.
It's a breakup. It's in every freaking song, every freaking movie, every book, every, you know, it's all over the place.
Yeah. And then we get our second missed opportunity.
The end of the anything being held and just being able to settle on that last chord and be like.
Yeah. And this didn't happen because, again, it was me. Like, I just wish that I didn't track vocals to it, because I was having trouble with breath control. So my day was flaking out. And again, we were attached to this idea of the vocals that I was recording that day were going to be the final vocals. So if everything else has lined up perfectly with my vocals, if I'm unable to sustain that note, then maybe the strings just shouldn't line up with it too. And then it's just like, you kind of mentioned it and then it kind of got shut down, and alas.
That's what happens sometimes.
But you fixed it. I mean, you managed.
It's the reverb tail that helps it.
Yeah.
Now.
That was a good call.
A little bit automated, because it's all very soaked in reverb, this song, a little bit more than the others. And that, it just automates it up. So it kind of, keeps that going. So before we end on this, I just want to go back, and you may have heard from that last time I played that there's this orchestrational stuff that comes in. I want to actually take the strings down, which actually I just realized that they were just down. That's why if they sounded weird, they were a little quieter, because I put this thing on it to turn them down. This is this first one, and the strings are going to be lower here. Right.
That's so cool.
And then that trombone writing I'm pumped about that.
Yeah.
And then there's this trombone moment here. That's it. Those are the only two moments with just a little bit of orchestration. When you get together with the vocals, you kind of get this thing going on.
It's disgustingly good.
And you know what I love is this breath in the vocal, in the violins. You can hear this. You hear that in there? It's I can't remember who's on violin one, but it's somebody.
Hannah.
String players. I love Hannah. I love it when they just breathe when they lean into a phrase, and I love that. I love hearing that sound when I'm listening to string quartet. So it's just like hearing that going through the reverb and the way that organic, just raw attitude, And again, this is that second moment. We played it before, but. Right, and you can hear how that rubato is so important, right? It's like do da dee da dee da dum bum be da dee dum bum. Like it just like it really lands, and it allows the gestures that are being said to have weight and prominence and focus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Made such a huge difference. That was so cool.
Put it onto a little bit more of a pedestal.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some necessary depth.
Well, that's Willow. I think we should tie it into our narrative, yeah?
Absolutely.
The album narrative?
Yeah. So, we'll talk about the change thread first. I think that's kind of important.
Okay.
So, in this song, our narrator initiates change. What is the change? Letting go of that relationship that before they were only grappling with and had no intention of letting go of. It was like, I know something's wrong, and maybe it does have to do with this thing, but I'm definitely not going to like go and figure it out somewhere else. It's like I wanted to be in the confines of the relationship still. However, we take what we learned from our side quest and start to apply it here. So we initiate change by making this move to end the relationship, even though, again, I feel like I'm so stuck on being like, he broke up with me. I get pissed. And when people, just trying to respect that, not trying to be like, I did all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, but when you break up with somebody, I mean, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
You're working through things. And also, this is a narrative we're talking about. Totally. It is autobiographical in some sense, but it is also just like a narrative.
So funny. Yeah. So then in regards to the narrator versus codependency thread, we apply tool number 1 to the main quest. We demonstrate external vulnerability and Oh my God, I did this last time. We demonstrate external vulnerability and authenticity, which is our tool number 1, by taking a risk, because we learned that risks can be good.
In Moonlight.
And evoke.
And in Side Quest.
Yes, positive change and consequences and outcomes by leaving the codependent relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's freaking huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. So we have won this battle thanks to tool number 1, but not the war, because we haven't gained access to tool number 2 in our main quest yet.
Yeah, the internal, that true sense of internal, like being authentic with your own self.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have arrived at yet another takeaway time.
Yeah, there it is. We're getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is just another example, like Salt, of just like minimal production to a raw aesthetic can just really go somewhere,
mm-hmm.
right? It can really be very powerful. Yeah, and I think that that's very straightforward here. It's just like a few things. And we were aware, though, we weren't just like, oh, we're not going to touch it. It's just strings and voice. We're not going to touch it and we're just going to leave it. No, we were like, listen to it. Be aware of its context in the record and say, oh, all right, it's good. It's great. It sounds beautiful, but it sounds detached. And being open to that being a possibility and not being so biased is important too.
Totally.
Being a composer and a producer is removing as much bias as you can,
mm-hmm.
right? And I think that I think that's pretty clear here. It's like those other orchestrational moments come in on these B section and the C section. The verses are fairly untouched, minus the one bass drum note, or 2 bass drum notes that you can kind of feel.
Yeah.
And then I talked about knowing your place in a musical setting, like that. That's an important lesson to learn.
Yeah.
What battles do you fight? When do you say things, and how do you know when to step in and when to not step in?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And this one is more in your wheelhouse too, but production meets composition. Explain that.
I mean, that's been this whole record so far, right? But this is like just like a potent example of that. Like, we accepted the reality of rubato, which is not something that fits on a grid that is typically shown in a DAW,
mm-hmm.
because that was the musical decision to be made,
right?
And we used tools in the DAW like tempo mapping,
mm-hmm.
To assign it to the grid for purposes that we ended up figuring out and things like that. But we can, but it's just an example of like, there are things you can do where if you want to make a musical decision, you can use production in post. You can adjust things and meet yourself in the middle with those by making some of those decisions more freely ahead of time. When let's do rubato, let's have this. I just again, another just because it's a relative example or a recent example. This other artist I'm working with, Gracie, like so many of their songs have like sections with different tempos and retardandos and things like that, and we draw all that stuff in. We commit to like, let's shape it. Okay, play that again. All right, you're slowing down a little bit more there. Okay, so by this bar you're going to be at this tempo,
mm-hmm.
and then you're going to slow down this way, and then and they're following that same changing tone of tempo map every time, because that's like the musical decision.
Right.
Could it just be like, yeah, I was playing in time, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's like that's the essential piece of that composition. So being aware of tempo, I think that's one thing that this song has that only exists in some places playfully, or not playfully. We hearken to it in the beginning of Echoes,
mm-hmm.
right? We hearken to it in the outro and the intro of Willing,
yeah.
right? Salt is in time, but feels a little like, it's so slow that we kind of feel this emptiness in it, right?
But this is a full commitment.
This song is like, okay, what if we just followed that,
mm-hmm.
but we lived in that?
Yeah. Yeah. Celebrate it. Yeah. Okay.
Short little guy.
I
mean,
still a lot to say.
But it's a shorter one. It's a simpler one.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
We've had Light On. We've had Will. We've incorporated a couple of these things. We front load the record with a lot of attention grabbing things,
mm-hmm.
and you'll notice as we keep going to the very end, things become a lot more straightforward. If I Knew is going to have some stuff, right? It's Codependency's last stand,
mm-hmm.
right? But Birdie Cage does not have a lot of layers. It does not have a lot of production, and it's one of the most untouched and unchanged. And then Clarity, strings, vocals, vocoder, and piano. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So like this last chapter is about this purity, this organicism, this raw authenticity, which is what we've learned from the main quest.
Yeah.
Is this vulnerability and authenticity.
Side
so
quest.
How can we show that? Sorry, from the side quest is those two tools.
Yeah.
So we're going to apply them and live in them.
See you next time on Clarify.
Clarify.